So this is the video I did not want to make, but I just knew that I was going to have to make it. Oh. Actually, I don't have to make it, do I? I could just send Zelah a personal message, keep it private and not make it public at all. Oh yeah. Oh, no, I can't do that because then I've got no content for my TikTok channel, do I? Darn it. Blinking TikTok, hey? It's another day and another bit of drama in the life of George Gilbert, host of George Gilbert's Melting Pot on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all of the good podcast platforms. Me. So, what are these allegations I've been accused of? I am meant to be some sort of transphobe now. These allegations have come about because, as many of you are aware, I was in the Big Brother house, have I not said already? And I got chucked out, which was nonsense in and of itself, but there you go, that's besides the point. And in the Big Brother house, there was someone I'd consider a friend of mine, actually, a person called Zelah, and Zelah is a trans man, so that's sort of how these allegations are beginning. But as many of you would have seen in the last episode of this podcast, I had a guy called Nathan King on, another ex-Big Brother contestant, not in my season though, and he's very outspoken on trans issues. And obviously Zelah doesn't like what Nathan has to say about transgenderism, and because I platformed Nathan and certain things that Zelah believes I said, Zelah's not happy with me either. And all of Zelah's fan base, if you like, they're all coming after me like I'm some sort of transphobe. Whether that's true or not, I'll let you make your own mind up, because Zelah actually made a TikTok video all about me, slagging me off, which was very nice to see from someone I would consider a friend, but I think that is a one-way thing now. I don't think I'm Zelah's friend, which is a shame. He's got his head screwed on and he's got a lot to say. We actually had a lot of things in common, and great conversations, so that is something I will miss about Zelah in my life. So yeah, Zelah made a TikTok video about me, which I'm going to react to, and then afterwards I'm going to share my stance on transgenderism and what I actually feel about it. Am I a transphobe? I'll let you make your own mind up. But first, let's react, because that's what people do these days, for some reason, to Zelah's public message to me. So he could have just sent it to, but yeah, I don't know, he chose to put it on TikTok, and hundreds of thousands of people have seen it, who now think I'm a transphobe, when actually it's fake news. So it is a sorry state of affairs, but hey, let's react to this video so I can fill you in. It is 4.5 minutes long, I must add, so if you would like to skip past it, it's about 4.5 minutes, and I wouldn't blame you, but let's go.
Now this was a video I didn't want to make, but I knew I was going to end up having to make it.
To cut off your test and then call yourself a man, that is mentally ill. I just cannot tolerate bullshit. That is bullshit.
Amen, George. Is that what we're on? Now listen, I don't care about Nathan. He's been trying his best to stay relevant, and ever since I entered the house he's been trying to diagnose mental illnesses with no PhD. But George, this is harder to hear from you, because although I agree with Big Brother kicking you out of the house because some of the things you said were just outrageous, I think that we actually had a good level of respect for each other in the house. And although we have very, very different opinions, we had some really pleasant conversations in that house. And you even went onto a podcast to say those were some of the most interesting conversations that you had in the house. You know the first thing I asked, the night where I was evicted, after late at night I was put in a room with the welfare team and having my debrief, the first thing I asked was, how is George? Because I knew the second you got kicked out of that house, and I literally said this as I was packing your belongings into a suitcase for you that morning, I said he's now going to go down a very, very dark path, and he's going to be led there by a certain group of people. Because I know, George, and you know deep down, that in that house, you saw me as a man. I'm not saying it to be cocky. You know. We both know that. However, people like Nathan and people like the kind of podcast that you've been on, they are now manipulating you to see the world from their viewpoint, or go down a very, very harsh line of thinking, a very hateful line of thinking. And you know what, I actually understand. why you're going down that path, because these are the people that listen to you, right? You feel like you've been silenced by a certain branch of media, by a certain branch of politics. You feel like you've been silenced, you feel like you've been cancelled. I would like to caveat that with, if you're very, very pro free speech, that means you're not free of consequences, because the certain medias and TV shows that you go on and platforms, they then have the right to not broadcast your way of thinking. And that's their execution of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But anyway, I have put a lot of effort, George, into having open discussions with you and other people on the show. And I'm glad we got to have those open forums. However, now I'm going to put my efforts into sticking up for and setting boundaries for a community that fucking needs it. A couple of weeks ago, I attended a vigil on Transphobe Remembrance to remember trans people that had been taken far too early. And a lot of the reason that those people and kids in some cases were taken far too early was because of some of the really, really harmful rhetoric that people like Nathan and now people like you spread. Now, to my fellow cast members, if you still think it's acceptable to hang out with people like George and people like Caroline, because I've seen the stuff that she's been retweeting, I've seen her retweeting George's stuff, I've seen her commenting on Nathan's videos, I've also seen some of the racially questionable retweets that she's put out there since leaving the house, then you are enabling them. I don't care if you're also queer, I don't care if you're also a person of colour. You are enabling them and their hate speech. And bear in mind, I said since leaving the house, I'm judging everyone on their actions since leaving the house. We've all been through a life-changing experience. There's certain people who I have very, very different views to, who right now I'm on good terms with. I have told them I am watching them. I'm wary. However, I think it's fair to base everyone off their actions afterwards. And there are certain individuals who have very much proven that they are still very, very willing to put very hateful messaging out into the world and come after very marginalised groups. This is not a case of, oh, but so-and-so is okay as long as we don't bring up politics. They are spreading hate speech. Nathan is there calling trans people mentally ill. He then goes on to call a bunch of the cast members freaks. He doesn't say which ones, but it seems like he's not just talking about me. And George is there nodding. And Caroline is very much charming with both of these people, and let's be honest, we're probably going to meet up with them very, very soon. If you are still friends with these people, you are enabling their actions and you're making it clear where you stand on these issues. I want to say thank you for watching, but Christ, like just, I'm tired.
Zelah. What are we going to do with you, eh? When you were evicted by public vote from the house, you're right, I did respect you, and again, like you say, some of the most entertaining and insightful conversations I had on Big Brother were with you. So, as someone who genuinely valued you and your contributions to my experience, I sent you the friendliest of direct messages, just showing my support. And let me read it, actually. I did, I've got it here. I said to Zelah, I said, "Hi Zelah, I'm gutted that you're out. I thought you were a valuable housemate. I saw your reaction to me getting the boot, and I appreciated it. You were real, and not a backstabber when it was easy to slag me off like some of the others did. You know who I'm talking about. All the best to you in your future endeavours, mate. I wish you well." I thought that was very decent of me. I'm not trying to win brownie points here, but I didn't have to do that, and that's because I'm a nice guy. So what did you reply to that great message of mine? Not a dicky bird. I didn't hear a peep from you. And in fact, I even then followed you on Instagram because, as I say, you were my friend, and that can still survive if you want to, I don't know, come around for Christmas or something. I'm chucking it out there. So I followed you, and I sent you that message, and I didn't get anything back. So, bearing that in mind, I don't think I was your primary concern as soon as you left the Late and Live studio. I don't think you was like, "Oh, how's George? Really? Really?" I don't know if that's true. I mean, if it is, then I appreciate it. I think it's very decent of you. You're genuine, but it wouldn't have taken much to send a quick, "How are you, mate?" over some sort of direct message service. You know where to find me. But you didn't. And numerous of the other housemates did. I won't name names, but I really appreciate all of them for doing so. Those who did. But you didn't. So you're professing to be some sort of nice guy here. Well, it's not hard to send a quick "How are you, mate?" over text. But you didn't. So to begin with, it appears you haven't actually taken the time to watch the full chat that Nathan and I had on our podcast. And I know this because you've fallen for the clickbait. Gotcha. See, where I say amen, And in the prior comment where Nathan says transgender people are mentally ill, if you look closely with your beady eyes, you notice that the visuals change. It's because where I say amen, that's at a different part of our hour-long conversation. It's just chopped up, rearranged for entertainment purposes to make it look like I've said something I didn't. Just to drive up a bit of attention, you know? And you've fallen for it. Unlucky, mate. Just knew there'd be a sucker falling for that. So I was actually saying amen to Nathan's comment where he says, I don't tolerate bullshit. And by the looks of it, you don't tolerate bullshit either. So you would have said amen as well. And I could have chopped it up to make you look like something you're not, like you're doing to me. But I wouldn't do that because I would investigate the full length of the conversation just to fact check what I'm accusing somebody of. And now I've got your clan coming after me, sending me death threats. I mean, I had quite a few from your people, you know, the LGBTQIA plus community. They seem to be coming after me, good and proper. Who saw that coming? But because they're actually angry with me at something I didn't even say, I didn't say amen to the mental illness thing, that feels even worse. So yeah, I'd accept an apology in writing or by TikTok again. We can arrange that. But yeah, just apologise in the next few days, please. And for the record, I don't think transgender people are mentally ill. So that's not what I was saying. And I mean that. So, let me get this straight. You feel like every human in the world should disassociate themselves with me, all because I had someone on my podcast that you just don't really like. Well, that'll do wonders to prevent me from going down this very, very dark path that you talk of, won't it? Zelah, please realise that the only platforms being offered to me, the only people that came forward and gave me a voice when I most needed it to try and dislocate myself from the allegations that Big Brother leaked to the papers, were people that you would openly vilify as being toxic voices. So to then encourage our mutuals to completely cancel me from their lives, I think that's only going to accelerate the speed at which I demise into this radical transphobic hellhole. So don't you see how that's counteracting what you're trying to say that I shouldn't be doing? I shouldn't be going down this abyss of hatred. Well then surely you want to include me and, you know, change my mind. So here goes nothing. If you want to meet for a cup of tea or something, there's your chance to reform me. So, oh God, did I just say reform? Oh, touchy subject. Also, you did tell me in the house that your circle of friends on the outside are very, very left-wing, like extreme left-wing. So one of the key reasons you applied to go onto the show was to expose yourself to alternate points of view. Snap, same here. I think that's great, and hats off to you for doing that. But to then call for our housemates to alienate me, it's a bit of a contradiction there, mate, don't you think? It's funny how people change. Maybe, I mean, as I say, in the house, we were pretty close. I got on with you, you got on with me. And since leaving the house, you are now, you don't even bother to reply to my very positive and very supportive message. What's changed? Well, you're back with your circle of friends who maybe have corrupted you into thinking that I'm on this harsh path when really it might be you on the harsh path. I hate to break it to you, but maybe you're trapped in this echo chamber of voices, all thinking the same thing. You're all the same. You don't know people like me in your lives, so maybe they've corrupted you into thinking I'm some sort of monster. Maybe because I showed just an ounce of conservatism in my thinking. Maybe. Plus, you actually said to me, I don't know if you remember, in the snug in Big Brother, that your girlfriend is. You said, "Oh George, if you think I'm bad, wait till you meet my girlfriend. She's like a communist compared to me." Well, I don't want to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. I hope I'm not going to break you guys up from this, but yeah, I'm not going to say it. Do you know what, Zelah? If you are in trouble, mate, blink twice, and I'll come and save you, because I don't want you to fall down this harsh path. Blink twice. I've got you, mate. We'll sort them out together. Bloody communists. Oh, we'll get them. And on that note, by saying that I'm on this very, very dark path, that implies that you're on the brighter, more kind side. Well, I hate to break it to you, and you're not going to want to hear this, but as I say, pretty much all of the hateful messages and death threats that I have been receiving by the dozen on a daily basis, a large proportion of them have a rainbow or the trans flag in their bio or in their name. So there comes a time where I feel, do I actually want to be associated with this crowd? You're now the flag bearer of the LGBTQIA+ community. Good luck to you. I think you are genuinely trying to make a positive change in the world. Well done. I'm happy for you. But they're all just... The people that have been saying the worst things to me seem to be your clan. And they are all obnoxious clones because they all think the same. I don't want to appease that sort of people. They're by and large, from my experience at least, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but from my experience, they are not nice people. So I'm quite happy on my side of the fence that is very, very dark, in your opinion. So, on the old trans debate. Now, it honestly doesn't fire me up as much as you probably think it does. I don't care what you got between your legs. If that's the trans community, I'll leave them alone, because I want to talk about things that matter. We are Great Britain. My whole shtick is making Great Britain as great as it can be. So I want to talk about restoring national identity, about the declining birth rates, about coastal erosion, about immigration. And I know we're on the same page with immigration, Zelah, so I'm pleased we can see eye to eye on that. But that's why I was able to live comfortably alongside you, because I can see past it. And I certainly don't want anyone to feel apprehensive around me, because I don't care about that. I'm moving on to the more important topics, thank you very much. But if you're still keen to know my stance on transgenderism, then here we go. For starters, mine is an opinion that many people probably wouldn't have told you before because of the echo chambers we all find ourselves in. I am opposed to the considerable influence that the LGBTQIA+ community exercises over often young and in many cases vulnerable minds. I think that children especially yearn to feel a sense of belonging today in society, in my opinion, because of the absence of religion, but that's another talk in itself. But I feel they want to feel like they're part of a collective, and when the LGBT community comes calling, they get taken under the wing of this, and they don't actually know what they're a part of. They haven't matured enough to understand who they are as a person. But not just that, when children are swept into this harsh path, if you will, I think then if they do decide they're trans and then they undergo the irreversible medical procedures and take drugs and all sorts of stuff like that, a lot of the time studies have shown, many US studies I grant you, but studies nonetheless, they show that the children were just gay. They're not trans, they're just a bit confused and they're gay, so they think they're trans, and then a few years down the line they look around and go, oh God, can I undo this? Doctor goes, no you can't, you said you were trans when you were 8. I think that's wrong. I think kids especially, but anyone should have some sort of test to make sure they know what they're getting into. But for those of you out there who are adamant that they were born into the wrong body and aren't just gay, do you know what? I concede that I can't relate to how that feels, and I do feel sorry for you, because that must be a sorrow-inducing experience day in, day out. But I've seen many research studies that say that suicide rates increase tenfold in some studies amongst transgender people compared to cisgender people. So, just chucking it out there, could it be that some of these transgender people are scarred from a prior life experience that has made their heads a bit scrambled, for want of a better word, and then they undergo this life-altering procedure, but actually they should have just been directed towards seeking professional help, therapy of some sort? I think that would be a good idea. Not just that, I believe that society must operate from at least a frame of rationality in order to keep sane. Logic must... Write this one down. Logic must triumph over emotion, otherwise strength is compromised. Write that on my gravestone or something. I'm proud of that. Now, what I'm saying is, if we disjoint ourselves from objective reality, then society begins to break down, I think. Where do we go from there? Oh, I want to jump off this building because I said I can fly, and you must affirm that. You see the problem? But allow me to reiterate, I don't really care. I want everybody to feel as jolly as can be, and I want this country, foremostly, to be as great as can be. Is me or someone else or anyone discussing what a certain someone keeps between their legs where the sun don't shine actually going to progress humanity? No. And that's why I'm cool with agreeing to disagree. I don't know if you ever want to see me again. Whether or not you do, my inbox is open, but I'm happy to just coexist the way we are and, you know, natter about protein intake or whatever, like the good old days. You taught me a lot. Must living in harmony be contingent upon seeing eye to eye on this topic? To me, you're Zelah. Not Zelah with that genitalia. Zelah. Yeah? Zelah. Zelah! Lastly, I might add that I don't think it's your community who fucking needs support. In fact, it's always people like me, on my side of the fence, who lose their jobs for their views, who get cancelled left, right and centre, who receive online threats on a daily basis. If you want to show my people support, then the door's open. I won't hold my breath though. Anyhow, I honestly do hope you're doing well, mate. Consider this an open invitation to come in onto my podcast, George Gilbert's Melting Pot, available on YouTube, Spotify and all good podcasting platforms. Do you know what? If you do come on, we can debate this. A bit like, what's his name? Charlie Kirk, your role model. You know, the guy who you were slagging off in the house. I pulled you up on it and then wiped the floor with you in that argument. That even though you're meant to be the nice guy and I was meant to be the series villain, I came across a lot more moderate and passive in that argument. Probably why it wasn't aired on TV actually, because that would ruin the whole villain thing for me. But alternatively, we could just have a general sit-down chit-chat, and it doesn't even have to be content. I'm happy to meet in a coffee shop if you like, mate, and reminisce upon the good old days, like the day you made us all a potatoey omelette from our rations, and that, hats off to you, that was mwah, divinity on a plate. You gotta give me the recipe, mate. You could be my Christmas present or something, and I could give you something in return. What could I? Oh, I've got You could have this in exchange. Chairman Mao's little red book of quotations. But it's probably more. It's probably more a present for your girlfriend, isn't it? I'll think of something. Zelah, you should know me by now. I have to sign off with a backhanded dig. All the best, mate. I wish you well for your future, and no hard feelings my end. Take care. And thanks for watching George Gilbert's Melting Pot. Anyone who has, please subscribe, follow, rate on Spotify and all the rest of them. That really means a lot. Thank you very much. See you shortly.